Welcome back as we continue our ongoing conversation about Bitfarms. Today, we're going to be discussing the secret plan to exit Bitcoin. And not only exit Bitcoin, but utilize Bitcoin to Bitfarms' advantage as they are preparing and ramping up to basically be part of this whole AI expansion that's happening in the United States and really around the world from a data center perspective, from an energy ownership perspective. And in my view, this could be extremely bullish for the company. In today's video, we're going to be talking about what Bitfarms is doing, some of the secret info that is in some of their SEC filings that a lot of people don't even realize, including using Bitcoin to their advantage, trading against the market in Bitcoin. That way they can raise more money to expand their operations even further than it already is. And in my view, Bitfarms is strategically positioning themselves to own the power, to own the grid. And what they're doing is very different than other companies like Iris Energy that actually own the GPUs. I mean, there are still holders of Iris Energy, IREN, on the stock market that have no idea and are misinformed that Iris Energy actually owns the GPUs, the computers that compute for their AI customers. And so the customers like Microsoft, they're just leasing out the equipment from Iris Energy. But that put all the risk on Iris Energy, all of the maintenance, the depreciation, the ownership on Iris Energy and the liability and the risk. Where Bitfarms, we've heard from the CEO, Ben, they want to own the energy. They don't want to own the GPUs. And so we're going to get into all of that and more. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. We upload every single day to bring you the latest happening in the financial world. Also, give the video a free thumbs up. Thumbs up are free. Crypto is not free. And you guys can also check out my other videos on Bitfarms by going to youtube.com/the Cryptoviser or click my logo down below and then just type in Bitfarms on my page or type in on YouTube, Cryptoviser Bitfarms. Let's get right into today's video on Bitfarms' secret plan to exit Bitcoin. Now, I saw this post in the Mining Mafia X group or whatever, and the founder of Mining Stocks Info and Treasury Stocks said despite ranking number 35 in Bitcoin holdings and launching its Bitcoin 2.1 program, Bitfarms management is clear. This is not a Bitcoin treasury play, and they don't want it to be. Now, keep in mind, Bitfarms owns a large quantity, thousands of Bitcoin in their portfolio. But now they're launching a Bitcoin 2.1 program, and I said, what in the Bitfarms is this? Well, buried in their November Q3 2025 results report is the secret Bitcoin 2.1 strategy plan that most people overlooked, but we are not overlooking this. We're going to deep dive right into it. So as you can see from Q3 earnings, they sold 185 Bitcoin at an average price of $116,000 for $22 million. Now again, they sold the top of the market, while other companies, other Bitcoin treasury companies, Marathon Digital, in the middle of the year, they raised money to bring their total holdings up to over 50,000 Bitcoin instead of pivoting to AI. They were buying the top of the market. Bitfarms is selling the top. Smart, in my view. They earned 164 Bitcoin from continuing operations and sold 100 Bitcoin in October, generating $12 million because they still have a Bitcoin mining business. And we've heard previously from Ben, who's the CEO of Bitfarms, that they are planning on at least continuing some of their Bitcoin mining operations to continue to gain money, right? To have cash flow as they're building out their AI business, which is smart, but it's also even smarter because that tells us where they're going to sell their Bitcoin, where other Bitcoin mining companies are continuing to hold their Bitcoin. Anyway, a portion of the funds was used to pay capital expenditures to support the company's growth and efficiency improvement objectives and to supplement the Bitcoin 2.1 market operations program. Well, what is the secret program that Bitfarms is working on? So in Q3, Bitfarms introduced Bitcoin 2.1 program, which primarily sells both short and long dated out of the money calls on Bitcoin in Bitfarms treasury and future Bitcoin production. This program is designed to offset Bitcoin production costs and achieve higher value per Bitcoin sold as a low cost and low risk funding mechanism for energy infrastructure investments. Well. This is actually, in my view, very, very smart. And let me explain what this means if you don't know exactly what it means. So effectively, they're taking their Bitcoin and they're using it to raise more money by selling call options on the market, right? Because we know, guys, Ben is a very, very smart individual, the CEO of Bitfarms, very, very smart. And I'm sure that he is very aware of how the Bitcoin cycle operates. He probably watches my videos here on the Cryptoviser channel. I'm just joking. He probably doesn't. I mean, maybe he has. Who knows? It doesn't matter. But he understands how the Bitcoin cycle works, as many of you understand how the Bitcoin cycle works as well. They are watching as people are like, no, Cryptoviser, we have the M2 money supply is increasing. So the cycle is extended this time. This time is different. Raoul Pal said that we have the business cycle is extended. So Bitcoin is extended. Guys, that's all bullshit. It's literally all bullshit. And Ben knows it, Bitfarms knows it, and you know it. And that is why we have exited our Bitcoin positions. And by the way, we have been 100% accurate on this position. People don't like, for some reason on this channel, when I say I was correct, but I was, right? And their portfolio clearly says that they were wrong by continuing to say that we're going to have an extended cycle. By the way, the same thing they said in the previous cycle, which was absolute nonsense and did not turn out to be true. So effectively, Bitfarms is using that, and they're trading against these bulls in the market that think that we're going to have an extended cycle, because Raoul Pal said that the business cycle is different this time, even though Raoul Pal clearly said he's also selling his crypto by the end of 2025, just in case the extended cycle doesn't happen. So how does that work? But anyway, these are the people that we're trading against. And it's not just us on this channel that are trading against all of these bulls. Clearly, Bitfarms is doing the same thing. And how are they doing it? Well, all of these bulls are saying, wow, we're going to hit, $500,000 this cycle. We're going to hit, and it's like, we're already at the end of the cycle. And they're like, no, Cryptoviser, we have an extended cycle. So Bitfarms goes in there and they're like, okay, do you think that we're going to hit 200,000? Yeah, we're going to hit 200,000 in 3 weeks. And so Bitfarms is like, great, buy this call option. And this will allow you to buy the Bitcoin at $200,000 when we're at $400,000 in just a few days. And they're like, oh, wow, okay, let me buy that. And then they buy it. It's an option, right? It's a contract. So if Bitcoin goes above $200,000, they can buy it for $200,000. But if it stays under $200,000, Bitfarms just keeps the contract premium, or the price of buying that contract. And because Bitfarms understands that the Bitcoin cycle is over, because it's very obvious, just like you guys know, they're just making money off of these bulls that are just spending their money saying, nope, I'm going to be right. I'm buying all these contracts. And they're wrong, right? So Bitfarms is making money off of these bulls that are wrong and will continue to be wrong. And just in case the Bitcoin does go above 200,000 or whatever the price is, I'm just using that as an example, they have the Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So they can just sell the Bitcoin that they own at $200,000. And they still make money off of it because they mined the Bitcoin for probably $50,000 a coin. And now they're selling it for $200,000 a coin, if we even hit that number, which we haven't so far. And so they're taking the money, and then this is part of their cash flow for the business. This actually is very, very smart. It's very smart. I mean, you could do this in your own portfolio as well. I mean, I don't necessarily recommend it if you don't understand what you're doing, but they definitely do. And that is quite interesting, because we haven't really heard this from other companies. I think one other Bitcoin mining company does this as well. I don't remember which one it was, but I do remember reading that in a filing. Maybe it was just Bitfarms, but correct me if I'm wrong down below in the comments. So I want you guys to think about that. They're now making money on Bitcoin in this Bitcoin 2.1 program as we're rotating out of a bull market into a bear market, they understand this, but the market and the market bulls don't, because they keep buying it and saying, oh no, we're going higher. It's like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Buy this contract for $200,000 or whatever they're selling it at. And they're making money. Very smart. The company holds 1,827 Bitcoin. So they have all of this Bitcoin that they can basically trade into the market in these fairly safe call options, short and long dated. And so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Meanwhile, we're also hearing that Bitfarms plans to wind down their Bitcoin mining by 2027 and begins their high-powered compute conversion at their Washington State data center site. And so this is also something that they've announced right here. It says Bitfarms from their own X page. Bitfarms announces plans to convert the Washington site to HPC and AI workloads, pursuing both co-location and cloud monetization strategies. This site will feature validated reference designs, ensuring compatibility with NVIDIA's GB300 GPUs. Again, compatibility. They're not saying we're going to buy the machines. They're saying we're going to make the site so that whoever wants to use our energy and our facilities can just come and plug and play. So they're going to have all of the whatever company they're making a deal with, whether it's now or in the future. That company has to buy the GPUs. Bitfarms is just providing the facilities and the infrastructure. This is very different than Iris Energy, than Cypher Mining, than TeraWolf, that are buying the actual GPUs. They also said this site will feature modular infrastructure enabling phased development and scalability, and proven thermal power management critical for HPC and AI workloads. And, part of this strategy is also to basically slow down and end their Bitcoin mining operations, right? It says here, despite less than 1% of our total developable portfolio, we believe that the conversion of just our Washington site to a GPU as a service could potentially produce more net operating income than we have ever generated with Bitcoin mining, providing the company with a strong cash flow foundation that could fund OpEx, G&A, and debt service to contribute to CapEx as we wind down our Bitcoin mining business in 2026 and 2027. We look forward to providing more updates in later calls. And so effectively, Bitfarms is literally stating in this release that they are going to be deprecating or slowing down and closing out their Bitcoin mining operations over the next year or two. And again, this is going to be a rotation. It's not going to be a light switch like they just stop mining Bitcoin and start AI HPC. They're building out their operations while still Bitcoin mining. And as they gain more AI and HPC growth and leases or agreements or partnerships, whatever you want to call it, then they can slowly, ramp up the new operations, slow down the old operations, get rid of the Bitcoin mining machines, and then convert those facilities into AI HPC operations. So they're always going to be having cash flow and revenue, because they're not just going to be shutting off their Bitcoin mining and turning on AI HPC. They're going to be turning on AI HPC and then shutting down their Bitcoin mining operations, probably in phased, in some kind of phased approach. And as they are shutting off their Bitcoin mining facilities, converting them into AI HPC facilities, allowing more partnerships, more lease agreements, more GPU as a service, whatever you want to call it. And then by 2027, this is really the key target dates that we're seeing in most of these AI companies. This is when I think it seems like, a lot of these companies are going to be there. Now, I would caution, right, that yes, AI and HPC is going to be big money, but right now there is a huge demand and very little supply. By 2027, I predict that the supply will somewhat balance the demand, and the way that AI operates and the need for compute and energy will probably go down. The same way, like, back in the day, you had a big tube TV, and now it's, they have projectors and they have, thin flat screen TVs that take up basically no energy. The same thing I think is going to happen As the GPUs and the AI technology advances, it's going to need less energy, more efficient equipment, and that will also balance out the supply demand. But again, they are positioning themselves to be first in line for these operations and to be ready for the next wave where Iris Energy, Cipher Mining, even TeraWulf, they're getting all these deals now, but they're not fully prepared as a business, as an infrastructure for growth in the future. And by owning the machines, they're limiting their ability to actually make money, where Bitfarms is saying, wait, hold on. We're going to do this the right way, and we're going to do it differently than all these other companies. Why do you think that Bitfarms, as of me making this video, Google is not running to Bitfarms saying, let us use your equipment, let us use your infrastructure? Why do you think that Microsoft isn't doing it? Why do you think they're running to Iris Energy? They're running to Iris Energy because Iris Energy owns the machines. They own the depreciation. They own all the liability and the risk. So Microsoft and Google, they're like, yeah, that's a better deal. That way we can just walk away and we don't have to worry about still owning these undervalued or overvalued machines that don't mean anything anymore. A lot of these Bitcoin mining companies, you have to understand, they did not learn from the previous cycle when a lot of these Bitcoin mining companies went bankrupt because they kept buying machines at the top of the market, which we are at, because this is the most demand and the lowest supply right now that we will ever have in AI and HPC. Demand will continue to go up, but now supply is also going up as well. So where we are today, this is the highest imbalance that we will probably ever have ever again in AI demand and supply. The same way that in the previous cycle at the top, there was a huge demand for Bitcoin mining machines, and all these Bitcoin mining companies were prepaying for the machines from Bitmain. They were pre-ordering, prepaying, then they were delivered in the middle of 2022 at the market bottom when energy prices were higher and these machines were old. And a lot of these companies went bankrupt. Core Scientific went bankrupt. TeraWulf restructured. The other ones I didn't really follow too closely, but they all basically were having struggles. So where we are today is everybody's cheering on Iris Energy and Cipher Mining and TeraWulf because they have partnerships with Google and Microsoft. But it's not to the benefit of those companies that are providing the infrastructure. It's the benefit of the companies that are signing on, like Google and Microsoft, because they have no risk, no liabilities, and they can effectively walk away. Even if they just pay out the contract, they still win, and these other companies lose. And Bitfarms is saying, hold on, we're not making these deals at the top of the market. When the AI bubble talk is all around, we're going to do things slower, we're going to do things the right way, and we're going to do things in a way that once all of these companies have these partnerships where they have all the risk, and now they can't expand, now they don't have any money to really grow out their business, and we're in a bear market potentially, and energy prices potentially are higher, who's going to win? Bitfarms. Because Bitfarms is going to own the energy, and they're not going to have any other liabilities effectively. And they're making money from trading against the Bitcoin bulls. This is, even the more I talk about it on this channel, the more I'm getting bullish. Now, here's the deal. Bitfarms has done almost a round trip, right? We've gone from a double bottom in the middle of the year from about 70 cents all the way up to almost $7. So we also already did a 10x and we've come down substantially. And a lot of the downtrend, I think, has to do with the fact that, like what we were just talking about, Iris Energy, Cipher Mining, TeraWulf, they're all getting partnerships and deals. And everybody is anticipating that Bitfarms is going to get a deal. And so far, we don't have a deal. But we may go much lower in the price. I don't know. I've taken profits. I've told my viewers on previous videos, it's a good idea if you're in profit to take profits off the table and wait and see. Because I think generally, in a macro sense, the overall AI market needs to correct. Whether it happens now, in 3 months, in 6 months, in a year, I don't know, but it needs to correct. Even probably further than this. And we're already starting to see it with Iris Energy and Cipher Mining. They're getting these deals, and then we can see a little bit of a dead cat bounce, but we're still below all-time highs in those stocks. And so the market is trending lower, and there's a lot of risk in the market. But this is an opportunity to understand that these companies, it's already baked in what Iris Energy is doing. There's almost no growth that they're going to be able to do that will pump the stock price significantly higher over the next 6 to 12 months. But Bitfarms, they can do it. Because not only are they making money still from the Bitcoin mining business, but they're converting their other facilities to AI HPC. They're owning the energy, and they have all the cards in their hands because they have the infrastructure. All these other companies, they already rented out their infrastructure, but there's still a high demand. So Bitfarms can get whatever the hell they want now because they're one of the only ones left that have the infrastructure, that are way ahead of the game in terms of getting the pipeline for fiber optic connectivity, for energy connectivity, and owning the energy. So they're going to be able to, they hold all the cards. And these AI companies that still need the supply, as they're making all these deals, they're making the supply even less and less and less and less. So Iris Energy, they're tapped out. Cypher Mining, they're tapped out. TeraWulf, they're tapped out. Granted, they're going to expand as well, but you can only grow the energy as quickly as you can build the infrastructure for the energy and get the permitting and approvals and all of the equipment that you need to actually get that running. And so Bitfarms is in a very, very good place when it comes to the supply-demand curve. And not only that, is that they have this secret plan to exit Bitcoin, but on their way out of exiting Bitcoin, they're trading against the bulls in the market to extract even more value than what the Bitcoin that they're mining is worth, right? Let's say it costs them $50,000 to mine Bitcoin. Well, if they're making $10,000 per Bitcoin on these long-dated call option contracts over the course of time, they may be able to bring their cost from $50,000 down to $40,000, and they're selling the Bitcoin at the same time. So they're able to do all of this, and it seems like it's all going to work out. And we also have a lot to look forward to in 2026 from Bitfarms' corporate structure perspective. More specifically, Bitfarms is looking to re-domicile in the United States in the middle of 2026. They're already on the pathway towards that. We know that they opened up an office in New York, and they're still in Canada. And their CEO said by probably the middle of 2026, they're going to be re-domiciling, meaning just moving their operations fully into the United States, which will also open up a lot more opportunities from funding perspectives and from investment perspectives into the company. And so there's a lot to look forward to in Bitfarms. Is the price going to come down further? Very likely that it is, because just generally speaking, AI is due for a correction, crypto is due for a correction, and because these companies are still tied to it, we're going to see this affecting Bitfarms, TeraWulf, Cypher Mining, all of these companies. But we need to look for what the market has not already priced in. The market's already priced in everything Iris Energy can provide right now. The market has already priced in everything that Cypher Mining can provide right now. And so even if they get more deals, there's very little that they can actually do from an expansion perspective and from a revenue growth perspective in the medium and short term. Where Bitfarms, like I said, they hold all the cards. And so with that, let me know what you guys think about this secret plan to exit Bitcoin, and not only exit Bitcoin, but trade against the Bitcoin bulls on the way out. This also should tell you, right? Bitcoin may have been the next best thing, but now AI is the next best thing. So much so that all of these companies are literally dropping their Bitcoin mining operations. Who's going to mine the Bitcoin network if all of these Bitcoin mining companies, these mega Bitcoin, all of them have done it? If they're all exiting Bitcoin and exiting Bitcoin mining, whether permanently or temporarily, and moving into AI, because that's where the new money is, that is the next best thing. How's the network going to be supported? The Bitcoin bulls, they don't care. They just want the price to go up. But the price may go up, but if there's no network operators and the network becomes less decentralized because there's less mining operations, well, that's not good, especially when we're talking about quantum, AI and quantum, AI, HPC and quantum, all expanding rapidly at the same exact time. Very interesting stuff. Let me know what you're doing in your portfolio. Let me know what you think about the outlook on Bitfarms and also my analysis on the secret Bitcoin 2.1 program that Bitfarms has already rolled out. And most Bitfarmers have barely any idea that this is even going on. And these other companies, these other bulls and all of these Iris Energy, Cypher Mining, TerraWolf, etc., they have no idea either. They're like, oh yeah, Iris Energy is doing great. Meanwhile, we're like, Bitfarms is playing the entire market and they are making money. I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Check out my other Bitfarms videos right here on the channel. And while you're doing that, make sure you guys are subscribed. You can also become a channel member by clicking the join or subscribe plus button down below here on YouTube. I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, invest responsibly and thanks for watching.